Hello, I'm Brother Tom. I'd like to share with you 5 of the favorite jokes that have been passed on to me. A little boy came to his father and said, "Dad, can I have a puppy?" His father said, "Well, tell you what, instead of having a puppy, how would you like to have a baby brother or a baby sister?" Well, the little boy thought about it and he thought, well, a baby brother would be cool. And his dad said, "Okay, well, pray to Jesus every day, and maybe Jesus will send you a baby brother or a baby sister." Well, the little boy prayed for about 2 weeks, but the Lord didn't answer his prayer, so finally he quit praying. But several months later, his mother went into the hospital. When his father took him to see the mother, lo and behold, the little boy had a little brother and a little sister, twins. And so the father said, "Aren't you glad you prayed and asked Jesus to send you a baby brother or a baby sister?" And he says, "Yeah, Dad, but aren't you glad that I quit praying when I did?" The associate pastor of a church came to the pulpit one Sunday morning and he said, "I am the associate pastor of this church. I make $1,500 a month, and it's not enough." And he sat down. And the people were thinking, well, is he resigning? Is he telling us he wants a raise? What's going on? About that time, the senior pastor of the church came to the pulpit. He said, "I am the senior pastor of this church. I make $2,000 a month, and it's not enough." And he sat down. And the people were really upset now. Is our pastor and our associate pastor both going to quit at the same time? About that time, there was this card from the organ. Donk! The organist stood up and said, "I am the organist of this church. I make $3,000 a month. There's no business like show business. There's no business I know." There was a couple that lived up in the mountains, pretty much out of touch with the rest of society. There was a family in a motorhome that camped maybe a mile or 2 from where this couple lived. When the family moved out, the man went through their campsite and he saw a mirror that one of the teenage girls had left behind. He looked at that mirror. He said, "By cracky, I never knew my pappy had his picture took." So he took that picture of his pappy home with him. But then on the way there, he thought, "I'd better not show it to my wife. She and pappy never got along." So when he got home, when he thought that his wife wasn't looking, he hid that picture of his pappy in a chest and locked it. But the next time that he left the house, she broke into the chest and she found that picture, which was really a mirror, and she looked at it. "Uh-huh, so that's the old hag he's been chasing." A lady came home with a new dress. She said to her husband, "How do you like my new dress?" He says, "How much was it?" She says, "Don't you like the color?" "How much was it?" "Doesn't it fit me well?" "How much was the dress?" She said, "Well, it was only $200. $200? You spent two? How could you possibly spend? You know, we cannot afford a $200 dress. You have got to take it back." "I can't take it back. It was on sale." "Honey, why on earth would you buy a $200 dress? You know how tight money is." She says, "Well, the devil made me do it." He said, "The devil made you do it?" She said, "Yes." He said, "You should have followed the example of our Lord. You should have said, 'Get thee behind me, Satan.'" She said, "I did. I said, 'Get thee behind me, Satan.'" And then he said, "You know, that dress looks good from back here too. You really should go ahead and buy it." Then the last one for this video, which is video number 5. Back in the late 1800s, there was a barber shop that had 2 barbers. One was an Indian, and the Indian liked the firewater quite a bit. There was a Baptist preacher in town who would go to the barber shop to get shaved every 2 or 3 days. But he'd never let the Indian touch him because he thought the Indian's hands were not all that steady because of the firewater. But one day the pastor had a funeral that he needed to go to, and he went to the barber shop, and the other barber had several people waiting in line, so the only barber that was available was the Indian. So he let the Indian shave him that day, and sure enough, the Indian cut his face. And the preacher said, "Now you see there, Injun, that's what happens when you drink whiskey." The Indian ran his finger over the preacher's face and said, "Whiskey make 'em skin tender." Well, that's all for this time. May the Lord richly bless you. Bye for now.